Oh, it's on. Great. Day 4 of Vladimir Lenin's logs. Current date 21/2/1920. Well, I can say today is looking really good. For one, I've happily crushed a couple imperialist groups and slaughtered all of their families, but then again, it's just my job. And my journey is still on its way, and I know I have some good plans for this country, man. I'm so excited. 50 to 100 years from now, I know that whenever Russians hear the name Vladimir, Lenin will be the only thing they'll be able to pair with it. Now, while I doubt that anything could go wrong at this point, as I feel pretty comfortable and the people around me support me very well, I'm still being advised to maintain these logs to keep track of my mission. Now, firstly today, I'd like to address my idea of democratic centralism. It's brilliant. It provides the consolidated power for the freedom of discussion and the unity of action. Although the party within itself will be able to collaborate and make democratic decisions, the consolidation of power allows for badly needed hasty legislation. We should definitely not be open to perestroika, as we've seen the horrors perpetrated by capitalism, and stick on the economic route that I've laid out. Shock therapy should be avoided by keeping transparency with the people and maintaining political favor. Now, in terms of politics, we all know that parties are pointless only serve to distract the people, so in that I have made it sure to outlaw them all. Furthermore, now that we have the right people in power, I don't see the point in a single election, although within our party, we should make it our goal to have fluid conversation and democratically decide on things. I feel like this will breed for a relatively healthy political structure. We don't have to worry about kings or any more illegitimate rulings taking place inside of Russia. But I still do think that the Russian president should be the supreme branch of government and have a majority of the nation's power consolidated there, although allow for a small check to exist within the Soviet Congress. It's so that the president can maintain order in the country, but foreign nations are trying to overthrow legitimate leaders in order to restore monarchs. Our citizens should be able to embrace being part of this beautiful society, but avoid the dangerous social ideologies of ethnic superiority. We should be very accepting of immigrants from nearby countries and allow them to join us in union. The next thing I'm on to is glasnost. The people should understand what is unfolding in politics and be educated on these things in general anyways. The thought process is, the better our culture is in interpreting politics, the better our political consciousness will be, which will ultimately prevent the want or acceptance of royal imperial leaders. Speaking of which, that October Revolution, probably the best revolution ever. Not even trying to toot my own horn, but I marched up to that provisional government and I said, this Bolshevik territory. I was like, gimme political sovereignty, take your capitalism, Lenin is back in town. Woo! They really thought they could exile me. Well, I can guarantee that Russia is mine now and certainly for years to come. I already know my plans for the first 5 years. Protect the nation from hungry, dirty, imperialist scum, although the primary key is to establish and promote industrialization and correctly redistribute wealth to aid the working class. Oh my god, I'm gonna save this country. I can only imagine someone like my good friend but ye old goofball Stalin being in office. Who even knows what he would attempt in his first few years in office? Knowing that dummy, he'd probably attempt to commit to the rapid industrialization and collectivization of agriculture and the attempts to quickly rid the country of all its capitalist properties, probably failing in the process too. Oh, and by the way, if anyone's listening to this and somehow Stalin outlives me, please, by God, do not let him leave this country. Oh my god, he ruined us. Oh, well, now that I've said it, I don't think there's anything else to worry about. Especially not with this good foreign policy I've been brewing over. In terms of Ukraine and all the other countries expanding the Soviet sphere are great additions to our multicultural society and providing a good net benefit to the Union. In regards to the United States, I feel at this point is too developed and capitalist to try to intervene our wisdoms of socialism. Then there's Syria, which appears to have a lot of European intervention within it right now, and anything European will be too capitalist to be worth the effort of us trying to convince the proletariat favor towards socialism. Although one prospect I've been paying attention towards right now is Korea, which appears to be in unrest towards the Japanese rulers. The Korean independence movement is growing, and I can see room for a socialist regime that the working class will rise up to and embrace. In terms of foreign policy, that's all I have to address. I'd like to now reach back into politics and talk about nomenclature, which, in my personal opinion, I think is great. Just think about it. Those who helped the Soviet Communist Party deserve a spot on the list and ultimately in the Soviet government. It just makes sense that way. It's like proving your worth. It creates a beautiful incentive to help the benefit of the Soviets. Although, with all these faces coming in and out of the government, a national security force is imperative. The current Cheka of the NKVD works well, but rumors of a possible KGB being a similar successor if these forces ever become defunct does not sound unpleasant. We need forces like these no matter what in order to maintain and prevent imperialists from reinstating their disgusting rule over Russia. So those speaking on the KGB should plan it out as a possible backup if my current security platforms ever dissolve. I share a similar sentiment for the Russian military. We will remain a peaceful state and won't attempt to initiate wars, especially not participating in the global conflict working around the world. Although we do need a strong enough military to protect ourselves in the event that a European country tries to reinstate the Romanov power over Russia. God, I hate these dirty, good-for-nothing, self-righteous, divine right. Please spare my family, terrible psycho-imperialist. Let's go back to the economy. So, Russia will try to expand its position in the global economy, but the strength and prominence of capitalism will hurt its ability to hold strong economic influence in a lot of places. The best plan is to maintain peace with other nations, to sustain trade while also building great economic support through economic allies and coalitions. At this point, I spent a lot of time discussing our present plans, but if I'm going to conclude today's log, I should also spend a good amount of time discussing the future. Now this is the part where I shoot 100 years in the head and theorize how I believe we will leave the Russian legacy and how I want this country to look. Now I'm picturing it. In the year 2019, I can see myself being proud of the look of Russia. The most likely issues would come from a lack of diplomacy, as that will be the hardest job for a Russian leader. As it stands, allies are a beautiful source of Russia's strength. I would also suggest to any future Russian leader listening to make sure that to stay popular and allow for a strong society, you have to maintain a steady flow of information and make sure that the people are well educated. Embrace the strong Russian nationalism, but do not feed into an ethnic divide within the other Slavic areas, as that could be extremely harmful to holding a strong Russia. Although I really can only imagine this country looking amazing, being well developed, maintaining a status as a world superpower, and projected to make many more strides in the form of progress for the working class by eliminating major wealth disparities. Oh, I can't wait to lead this country. I'm gonna bring great good to the Russian people. Yeah, that's probably nothing.